Let's boost your English skills.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Boost English podcast. I'm Olivia, your host, and I'm thrilled to have you here again. In this episode, we're going to have a fun conversation that helps you improve your English skills while learning something useful.
Hey, listeners. I'm David. It's great to be on the show again. Today should be a blast, as usual. Olivia, what's on the agenda?
Well, before we jump in, let me first mention what we're aiming for here. In this podcast, you get to listen to a natural conversation, pick up new phrases, and sharpen your listening skills along the way.
Exactly. We try to use clear but realistic language. That means you'll hear everyday expressions, some casual remarks, and hopefully some tips you can use in your own life too.
Absolutely. And to get everyone relaxed, how's your morning been, David? Anything exciting happened before you got here?
Actually, it's been a pretty calm day. I woke up, made some scrambled eggs, and remembered to water my plants, which doesn't always happen. How about you?
My morning was nice too. I took a short walk, enjoyed the fresh air, and tried a new podcast on productivity. I'm feeling inspired, which is perfect for our topic today.
That's awesome. I'm guessing we're talking about being more efficient or something along those lines, right?
You're close. Our main topic is 5 simple ways to stop being forgetful. We'll share tips to help you remember things better and keep your mind sharp.
Great topic. Forgetfulness is such a common problem. I'm guilty of misplacing my keys and phone all the time. It's like my brain decides to take a break at the worst moments.
It happens to all of us. So let's dive in. Here's the plan. We'll go through 5 practical methods people can use to reduce forgetfulness. We'll chat about each one and share some personal thoughts.
Sounds perfect. Let's not keep everyone waiting. What's our first tip?
The first tip is to use a dedicated notebook or digital note app to capture important tasks and ideas. Writing things down might seem simple, but it's a huge help.
I agree. Even though I have digital reminders on my phone, I still like scribbling on sticky notes sometimes. There's something about physically writing it down that makes it stick in my head.
Exactly. There's a certain mental connection that forms when you manually record your thoughts. And if you prefer digital, that's great too. The main idea is to have a central spot for your tasks and ideas.
True. So that's tip 1. Externalize what you need to remember so it doesn't get lost in your head. What's next?
The second tip is to develop a routine or schedule. If you do certain tasks at the same time each day, you're less likely to forget them. For example, always put your keys in the same place when you get home.
That's a big one. Routines help form habits, and habits reduce mental load. I try to check email only during specific hours. That way, I don't forget urgent messages, but also don't get swamped.
Right? When our brains know when something is supposed to happen, they get used to that pattern. We save energy and reduce the chance of skipping something important.
Exactly. So a consistent schedule is a huge help. All right, what's tip number 3?
The third tip is to stay organized. This differs from having a routine in that it's about your physical environment and general mindset. If your desk is tidy, you're less likely to lose things.
I have to admit my desk is a bit messy, and I've definitely lost papers under random piles. But when I do clean up, I notice I can find things instantly, and it's less stressful.
Yes, stress makes us forget more easily. A clean, organized space helps keep your mind clear, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just a simple system so you know where everything goes.
Right? I'm not exactly a neat freak, but I see the value. Organized surroundings lead to an organized mind. Let's hear the 4th tip.
The 4th tip is to practice focused awareness. Sometimes we forget things because we're on autopilot. If we slow down and concentrate on one task at a time, we improve our memory.
That's so true. I've noticed that when I'm doing 2 or 3 things at once, I end up forgetting something. It's like my brain can't handle too many threads simultaneously.
Exactly. Focused awareness doesn't have to be formal meditation. It can be as simple as paying full attention to each action, like carefully locking your door or placing your phone in a specific spot.
Yes, I'm learning to do that. When I park my car, I consciously remind myself, keys go in my left pocket. It sounds silly, but it keeps me from losing them.
That's a great example. Now for the 5th tip, use mnemonic devices or memory tricks. For instance, create acronyms or short phrases to remember lists or sequences.
I recall using something like Roy GBIV in school to remember the colors of the rainbow. It sounds childish, but it really works.
It's surprisingly effective for adults too. If you have a list of items, try forming a silly sentence using the first letter of each item. That can help you recall them later.
Absolutely. Our brains like patterns, so if we create a playful system, it makes retrieval easier. So those are our 5 tips, but let's dig a bit deeper.
Good idea. We can share some personal stories or experiences where these tips helped us. David, do you have a memorable moment when you used a mnemonic device?
Yes, I once had to remember a list of steps for a cooking recipe. I used the first letter of each step to create a fun sentence. That silly trick saved me from messing up dinner.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure you felt relieved. For me, the big game changer was setting a routine. I used to constantly forget to pay certain bills on time.
Oh, I can relate. I missed my cell phone payment more than once. So, how did you fix that issue?
I made the 10th of every month my bill day. I wrote it in my calendar and set a reminder on my phone. After a few months, it became automatic.
That's perfect. Combining a digital reminder with a consistent date is so helpful. Now, about staying organized, do you have any special techniques?
I use labeled folders for paperwork, and I keep digital files named clearly. Also, I always put my keys on a specific hook near the door. That alone has saved me so much time.
Nice. A simple hook by the door is underrated. It prevents that frantic morning search. Now, let's switch gears a bit.
Sure. What's on your mind?
I'm curious about the role of stress. Sometimes I forget things just because I'm anxious or worried about something else. Any thoughts on how focused awareness ties in there?
Absolutely. Stress consumes mental bandwidth. If you're tense, your brain might skip details. Even pausing to take a deep breath can lower that tension.
Right. That's why people say to take a moment and refocus. It seems small, but it can prevent silly errors or oversights.
Exactly. It's about being present. When you finish one task, mentally close it before jumping to the next. That helps you keep track of what you've done and what's next.
Good point. Let me quickly go over those 5 tips again. First, write things down. Second, follow a routine. Third, stay organized. Fourth, practice focused awareness. And fifth, use memory aids.
Yes, those are simple but powerful. Now let's move to the next part of our show. We'll take a closer look at a few challenging words that popped up.
Right. We'll spend some time explaining certain terms. This is perfect for listeners who might have heard these words but aren't sure what they mean.
Exactly. Let's start with autopilot. We use that word, and some learners might not be familiar with it in daily context.
Autopilot literally refers to a system that controls a plane without direct human guidance. In everyday speech, it means doing something without thinking because we're used to it.
Right? It implies you're going through the motions without active awareness. Another word we heard was swamped. Could you clarify that?
Sure. Swamped is a casual way of saying you're very busy or overwhelmed. It's like you have so many tasks that you feel buried under them.
Good explanation. Next, let's talk about mnemonic. That's another term that might sound confusing at first.
A mnemonic is a tool to help you remember things. It can be a phrase, an acronym, or a rhyme. Anything that makes recall easier.
Exactly. We also mentioned tense, which is related to stress. Could you define that a bit more?
Yes, tense means feeling anxious or worried, often with a physical reaction like tight muscles. It can also describe a stressful situation where people feel on edge.
Perfect. Another phrase was consumes mental bandwidth. Some learners might not have heard that expression before.
Right. It's a casual way of saying uses up your mental capacity. We only have so much brain power, and stress or multitasking can eat it up quickly.
That makes sense. We also use the word frantic, referring to a panicked rush. How would you define that?
Frantic means hurrying around in a state of anxiety, often because time is short or stress is high. It's like you're practically running in circles.
Exactly. And misplacing is another term that might cause confusion. Could you clarify that?
Sure. Misplacing means putting something in the wrong spot without realizing it, so you can't find it later. It's not the same as losing it forever. It's just out of place.
Right. Before we finish, let's touch on productivity, since that idea came up at the start. Some learners might wonder what it means.
Productivity is how effectively you use your time and energy to complete tasks. It's about getting things done efficiently and achieving your goals.
Excellent definitions. Now we've covered autopilot, swamped, mnemonic, tense, consumes mental bandwidth, frantic, misplacing, and productivity. That should clear up any confusion.
Exactly. It's always good to learn new vocabulary and context. All right, Olivia, do you think it's time to wrap up?
I believe so, David. This has been a wonderful chat on how to stop being forgetful. I hope our listeners can try these tips and see real improvements in daily life.
Me too. And remember, folks, don't stress if you slip up. Building better memory habits takes time, but it's worth the effort.
Thank you all for tuning in to the Boost English podcast. I'm Olivia
And I'm David. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we look forward to our next conversation together.
Until then, keep practicing and stay curious. Have a fantastic day, everyone.